So you may find yourself in a situation where you want to split with your business partner and they don't want you to. What can I do? This is a really important question and really complicated dispute that you run into. Unlike a business divorce, which is sometimes, this is what people call it, where you can just say, hey, we have irreconcilable differences, we no longer get along, we have a difference of opinion about the way this business should be run, I want to terminate this relationship. Many businesses can't end that way. So if they don't want to split the business and you do, or you don't and they do, you have to go through a variety of steps to find out exactly how this issue would be resolved. The first thing that you would look at is a shareholder agreement or operating agreement, which would control how the termination of the relationship would occur. And generally there's forced buyout provisions, rights of first refusal written into these agreements, especially if they're prepared by an attorney. But to the extent they're not, then you gotta go one level higher up. And that is to your articles of organization, if you're a limited liability company, or your bylaws, if you're a corporation. And those bylaws or those articles of organization may include language about how a termination could occur. Assuming that they're silent on that issue as well, the next level that you would go to are your state's statutes or regulations that deal with the entity form that you're operating in, whether it's a limited liability company or a corporation, which are probably the most commonly used forms. Those states will have default rules on how all of that works. There could be processes like disassociation, where you decide, I no longer want to be a part of this company. We had previously agreed that I was going to work here, but I'm resigning as an employee of the company. I still have an ownership interest in it, but I want to go start my own business doing something totally different. And you may begin a process called disassociation. There's also the ability that you can operate a business that's different from the one that you have an ownership interest in. And most states don't have a problem with that necessarily. Where the challenge becomes is, hey, I'm running XYZ business with this business partner and I no longer want to do business with them. I want to hook up with a different business partner and do the exact same thing. And that's when you run into challenges with fiduciary obligations, which you owe to the corporation, and things of that nature. And in that regard, you may have a couple of options available to you, with the ultimate nuclear option being something called the dissolution process. What the dissolution process means is that you've decided to dissolve a corporation or try to undo a limited liability company, a wind up and liquidation of a partnership, whatever you want to call it. And basically this ends the business. Now, you may or may not have the ability to do that, and you may or may not have agreement from your other business partner to do that, and you may or may not have the court agree with you that you could do that, but the place that you need to look for those issues is in your state's statutes and regulations, and have an attorney guide you through that process about how to get that done. So if you want to just start another business, you may be able to do that. You got to consult the books and records and the laws of your particular state, and you may be able to do that. But if you want to run a competing business that's different from the one that you currently have with one of your partners or co-owners, you may have to use one of these legal processes to move on, especially if they don't want you to. Now, at any point in time, there's always the ability to negotiate with them, and at some point, there is a point where you arrive at where there can be a resolution. It's just, you may be too far apart right now, but I would always try negotiations. If not, go to your agreements, right? Your shareholder agreement, your operating agreement. If not, go to your bylaws or your articles of organization. If not, go to your state statutes. If not, go to your common law. And there may be many mechanisms for you to split, even if your partner or co-owner doesn't want you to. Unlike states where, again, you could have irreconcilable differences and say, hey, I want a divorce. Businesses don't work like that, but there are ways for you to move on. If you have any other questions with regard to this, please feel free to contact me. My name is Michael Smikin. I'm here at Callagy Law, and we're here to answer this and any other question you may have.